What's up everyone, welcome to another video, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create another Afro House remix. So first I'm going to show you how to create the foundation of the drums from scratch, and then I'm going to show you within the project how to add the melody layers and later on add a vocal or acapella. In this video I'm going to use my new Keinemusik producer bundle. The link will be in the description, make sure to check it out. Also make sure to check out the free preview and check out the free loop kit which is called Clouds. And it contains some awesome 100% royalty free loops. So make sure to check it out, both links are in the description. So right now let's get started. So at first I'm going to adjust the beats per minute or the tempo of the project to 120 BPM. So this is the most common BPM when it comes to creating Afro House songs. So right now I'm going to open up the Afro House Keinemusik producer bundle and I'm going to open up samples and loops. So at first I'm going to start off with a shaker loop. So I'm going to open up shakers. I'm going to pick my favorite one, shaker 24. I'm going to create a 4-bar loop like this. So you could, for example, drag it in at track 5. It doesn't matter. So right now we're going to open up the channel rack and I'm going to select unsorted. So the next step is to add a kick. And for Afro House, you're going to add a simple 4x4 kick rhythm. So I'm going to open up kick. So let's pick this one in this case, open up the piano roll. So I recommend you create the melodies in the piano roll and also the drums. Because in the end, it's way easier to fine tune the drums later on in the piano roll. So I'm going to drag in this simple 4 kick rhythm. At every first step, Ctrl C, Ctrl B. And make sure the volume of the kicks is 78% velocity. So all the samples in the producer bundle are leveled based on this level. And when dragging in a sample, this is also the default level. So make sure to not change it. Then select pattern 1 and paste it into the arrangement. So now it's time to add some more percussions. And in most of the cases, when it comes to Afro House, you add some percussions which contain some mid frequencies, which add a lot of groove. So I'm going to open up percussions. So let's pick this one. I really like this one. I'm going to draw on a simple rhythm. So that's it. So let's pick the next one. Percussion 37 and add it right here. Very generic rhythm. So for now you want to make it sound more humanic, so you press Option R, play around the velocity. So in most of the cases I'm reducing it just a little bit, press accept and open up this percussion and do exactly the same, accept. So now we could add some layers which contain some more high frequency. So I recommend you add another head, for example, on the offbeat, or one which I'm going to add right now. So I'm going to add this sample. I'm going to reduce it a little bit. So the out, so the fade out in this case. I'm going to drag in 2 samples and we're going to create a very, very amazing rhythm. So we're going to reduce the volume of the first sample like this, something like that. I'm going to select it. So left mouse, scroll to the left, Ctrl C and Ctrl B, is like this. And then we're going to select Option R. I'm going to randomize this one. So now it sounds like this when we play it on solo. And this one is perfect to layer it with the other drums. Adding a lot of texture. So the next step is to, for example, add some snares. So I'm going to add a unique snare. So let's open up the African producer bundle, African drum kit, snares. So let's pick this one, which has some noise in the end of the sample. So it's very easy to play around with the pitch, for example, like this. Adjust it the way you like it. So in most of the cases, I'm also adding a small texture or detail. So let's pick another snare from the Keinemusik producer bundle. For example, this unique one, and I'm adding it right here. And then I'm playing around with the pitch. For now it sounds very, very shitty, but we're going to remove the low frequencies. You can do this by adjusting the pre-computed effects. Scroll down all the way. And that's it when it comes to creating the foundation for the drums. So right now, let me open up the final project. So I showed you how to create foundation for the drums. In the final project, I've added 2 more layers. So a shaker loop and a block percussion. As you can hear, I've also added some reverb to some of the samples, so on the snares. So for example, the short snare, this one. And then while the arrangement progresses, I've added more and more layers. So right here, the snare is coming in, which we've added. Then we're adding another percussion loop. And we're playing this in the main part of the track. And right here, we're adding another triangle and tambourine loop. To create a build up and add more and more groove during the arrangement. So this will make it interesting and it will make sure the track doesn't get boring. So basically every 4 to 8 bars surprising the listener by introducing a new element. So that's it when it comes to the drums. I've showed you it could be very simple. Just use the right loops and use the right sounds. This makes it so much easier. So the next step is adding a chord progression. And for a chord progression, I've used Labs. And Labs is a free plugin, so I highly recommend it. And I'm using the Autograph Grand. And I'm using it using the default settings. So this is our main chord progression created in C minor. So the next step is to add a bass line. And I'm using this bass line which is called Advanced from the Keinemusik Producer Bundle Serum Kit. And I think this is one of the layers which is essential when it comes to building Afro House. So I'm just using the root notes from the chord progression, so these notes, copy them over, and I've used those ones to create the bass line. So still very simple, and those layers are just essential, especially the low frequencies. So then the next layer is a pad. And in this case, I'm using Simple Pad from Analog Lab Pro, which I highly recommend, amazing plugin. And I'm just using this one to add some ambience and again, make it interesting. So now we've added elements which mainly add mid-frequency. So now we want to add the top layers. So in this case, I'm going to use a very generic Pluck for Afro House, but I try to switch it up somehow for you guys. So I'm using one of my new Pluck presets, which is called California. And this one is a very unique preset. Try to switch it up, create something new for Afro House, because in most of the cases, people are recycling the same sounds. But I think this one is very, very unique. So this one sounds like this when I play it in C. And in this case, I'm playing a rhythm which is very similar to the main percussion. So let's have a listen. And let's layer it with the other elements. As you can hear, it goes very well together. And it's basically following the main rhythm for the drums for this track. Then we add the final layer. So I've not added that much elements to this project, which is the typical reverb pluck, typical Afro House pluck. And I think this one is a great complement to the other pluck. And this one is following this rhythm. So I'm opening up the cutoff frequency in the main part where this plug is playing, and then I'm reducing the cutoff filter for the other plug, so they're not colliding with each other in the mix. And then of course I'm adding some transitioning effects from the Keinemusik Producer Bundle, uplifter, downlifters. So those are essential in tracks like this, and I've added some of the most important and I think best transition effects you can use. So you can all find them in the Keinemusik Producer Bundle. And that's basically it for the structure of this track. So a simple trick which most of you guys just have to use is using cutoff filters using an EQ. So right here, before the main part is coming in, I'm reducing the low frequencies from the bass, for example. So let's have a listen. So let's take a look what is happening. So by filtering out the low frequencies when the main part is coming in, so the main bass and the drop, it just sounds harder, and it's basically just an announcement for what is coming. So I would highly recommend using this transitioning automation. So next up, the final element is adding a acapella. So I'm using an acapella from Jimin from the track Who. I don't in particularly like the original track, but when I came across this song, I was thinking about it with a Afro house track perfectly. So separated the stems using the AI stem separation tool from Apple Studio, and it sounds like this when I play the hook. So leaving a lot of room for the vocals. So right now I switched up the hook of the track. So I've created a unique part and I've pitched the vocal down 1 octave or 12 semitones. So I did this within the sampler, so minus 1200 cents. And then I'm adding some unique effects. So first, let's have a listen. So at first I'm using this flanger. Then I'm adding this reverb to add some more ambience. And then I'm using a gross beat using this half beat gate to add this stuttering effect. And then I'm adding around 6% of mix. So I'm adding the perfect amount of stuttering. And then I'm adding a kickstart too to add that ducking effect. So we're going from this to this. And I never heard something like this in an Afro house track yet, but I think it sounds very original. I'm just being creative and messing around. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to check out the full remix, it will be available very soon, or maybe by the time you're watching this video, it will be out already. The link will be in the description or probably in the comments. If you want to check out the free samples, make sure to check out the link in the descriptions. And with those being said, I hope you have a great day. I hope you create some awesome Afro house songs, and see you next week.